Hello and welcome to my craft room at Rhoda. I come today to show you my flip throughs of my sewing journals. Yes, journals, as in plural. I ended up with two because the one cover that I made was not going to hold both signatures. So, as you can see, I have a button and string closure, and this is where you take two buttons and just tie them together, and they make a nice little pinchy area, and it holds it shut very well. So let me start with this one. Um, these journals are a little bigger than they usually are for me. They're 10 inches tall and about a little over 6 wide. The reason for that was I wanted to get this whole image in here. So that's what I did. I also went from the outside in to tie my signature this time. I went in and out and in and out and in, and, and then I also covered this to give it a little more strength. This is that 10 by 13 envelope that I had. It was a clasp envelope, as you can see back here. And I have this little guy. He won't kind of stay in there. I've just got him kind of pegged in. But I wanted to make some kind of pretty little cover. I did a wooden button. I got these buttons at Walmart. They're just wood, and I covered them with napkin. And then just tied a little string in there. This is a really large snap, and I think I got that at Walmart too. And I just cut out like a little daisy kind of a design and put the snap in between there. This is just a little bulb clip with some goodies on it, and this is stuck in the pocket it's glued in, so it won't go nowhere. So this here is where I had to cut it open to make it fold better. And when I did that, I put a piece of washi inside there, and I left the front and the back open. I wasn't sure if I was going to glue them shut, but it made me a little pocket. So I put a little piece of washi tape on this. It's just a big journal card, and it's medium weight paper, I guess you'd say. Heavier than copy paper, but it's easy to get in and out, so that worked out really well for me there. The digital kit I'm using is, it's so vintage. I'm looking for, here it is. I was looking for her card. It's called So Vintage. It's by Jewel Design on Etsy, and it's a pretty little kit. And my thing was I can't get the borderless printing to work for me. So I had taken some of my bigger pages that were from paper pads over there, and I went and I glued them on the outside here. I took my pinking shears and cut them, so you got a zigzag design, and then I zigzag sewed them. So I thought that added so much to the digitals, and color-wise, it really does make the page, I think, and it adds stability too. Okay, so enough of that. Here's some crazy card I made a while back. So it had sewing theme stuff here. I tucked that in this piece of Tim Holtz paper that I had folded in half. It was like an 8x8 pad. This was one of those scrap strips you see Malena from Scrapbooking with Me do. And I just stuck that on there. This here was, this is from the digital, the So Vintage digital. I copied it twice on cardstock. And then when I went to put it together, I actually have a little video of this. I glued it right here. This envelope flap got glued right there. And I did not make anything to tuck in here yet. Whoops. And I was going to do something to the bottom there too. I might have to do that before anything happens to this book. But this came on the same page. So you got the grosgrain where I made the hinge. And I had this from an envelope window. I've got a few little cards in here about busting hips and shears and anything to do with sewing. And then this was from a Happy Mail, and it had a quilting design on it, and I just had to use it. It's going to be written on. I went over it with some of the Tim Holtz words because it had things that didn't have to do with sewing in here, so I kind of changed it. And this is just some more of the really pretty, I love these digitals. Anything to do with that that dress form. Now here is, I can't remember where I got that. Anything that's in here that you see and I don't say where it came from, if you're interested, just get with me. Leave me a message down there and I'll find out. Here was from the kit, and I put a little tea-dyed trim on it and a little ribbon and some of her fussy cuts. And this was a really different kind of way I did this page. I folded this over to where this is a tuck that way and it's a pocket this way. This is just where I glued a strip all the way across the bottom, and then I folded this one in because I really like that little dress form. Here was some words trims. That's from another one of her word, I can't remember what it is on there. I think it's Sew Words or something, from her Etsy site. And then I really love this image. I think that's what I used on the other journal. Now here, this was not going to be big enough for the size paper that I wanted to use here. And instead of getting in here and doing some kind of inking, I actually took an old pattern that I had. And see, that was one of the arrows. I just glue sticked it on there all the way around. And then I did a little stamping here. This was a page from, it's like a newspaper digital I've got. And this one was perfect for this type of a journal. This is a, what do you call it, the library pocket kind of page. And I didn't glue it down to where you can get behind it or anything. I just thought they could use the pocket as is. And these pages, of course, you can kind of write all over. So I didn't bother to do anything else with them. Now this is I think I got a video on this. It's a cathedral window. It'll come out, don't worry. It's a cathedral window pattern that I did with divots, the little thumb pulls that you punch out. And I put pearls at the intersections. I buttoned stamped in the middle. And then it's got this little V on it. This is some Stamperia paper. Gorgeous paper. But so this is a clothesline belly band. It was also on one of my videos a while back. But you just kind of pull it down right there. You can write on the back of it. You can write behind it. And it stays right in there. Now, on my last video about the book here, I did not know what I was going to do with this. This was a bag. So I just ended up just cutting everything away except for the outside here, and I made it a tuck. So I just ended up doing it like that. It didn't work any other way for me. I put a pretty little tea-dyed trim over there. This back of this page, I just covered the whole thing with a pattern. And I even put pieces in here to give it more interest. Yeah, the dress forms. It's that's my thing. And this one I had planned to be the middle of the signature. I just had to have it as the middle. I just love anything to do with advertisements. And that's the other side. This was a stamp I had. I got it from Tim Holtz. And I think I got it back at Halloween. Now this is the inside of the next page, book. And then I made a great big journal card here. And this here I saw Carrie the Crafter do. And I just made a simple little paper clip to hold it. But it folds out like this. You take a 12 by 12 and you get 2 of them out of a 12 by 12. And then you can write on the inside, on the outside, however you want to do. And I just made it into a place to tuck this journal card. Just like that. And it gives you a little bit more interest. And then I did a little bit on the back. And these colors kind of went in hand with this. This is another stamp here. The darks, there's a lot of blacks and darks in here, but I think they really add sharpness to this this journal, to the kit. It's just not all pretty, you know. This was another pieced journal card that I made, and I've added some of her items in here. This was from something else, but this is hers, and all these little goodies from the kit. And this was a pocket that is a log cabin pocket. And it's also one of my videos. I got a video. But I did a lot of these things back when, and they all kind of went with this kit. This is a stamp that was on that Tim Holtz stamp piece. This here was, I've been doing the Roxy Creations, and this was the one I did for the sewing. It has these chipboard pieces from his on there. I did a button. I did some of his other things. I even had this old, what is it, hook and loop. I can't get it out of there with one hand. I hook and loop. Hooks, eyes, and loops. I'll get right at 25 cents. Check that out. So that all goes in here. The blues kind of work in because I got a little bit of blue over here to the side. I was worried about the blues. I didn't think they would quite work, but they do. Here's another one of those journal cards. And this was the other side of that strange kind of a page that I made. This is a window from an envelope that I dressed up. This was another Stamperia pad, and it had to do with sewing. So I used a lot of those and made different things up, and I only had a few of these little pieces left by the time I did this book. Here's the other side of my Happy Mail, and it's just glued together, and a few more of the words. This is Angela Kerr. She has a doily digital, and I thought this was really, really pretty. I was going to put something on it, but then I didn't want to cover it up. It could be written on. And this here is a Tim Holtz 6x6 vellum piece. And they're pretty dark. So what I wanted to do, I took a piece of cream cardstock and I put it against it, and it makes it pop a little better. And then I put some pretty lace above and below with some ribbon in it. And then this is the last page. And back here, this piece I made, and I can't remember who I saw it from, if it was May or Scrapbooking with Me. But you took two pieces and you folded them in a way where you have a tuck here, and then you turn it over, and I put a little holder there, and then you can open it and you got another pocket. So, and then I kind of just dressed it up with some items I have. Crowded Attic. I've got a sticker pad over there, and that's where a lot of these are coming from that you're seeing. You probably haven't seen them anywhere else. That's not been around for a very long time. And then this here is where I had an opening here, but I decided not to go in that route. I went in this route to have something in the back here. And this is a great big journal card. And I dressed it up with a bunch of her digitals. And then this came from a paper pad I had. So that's that one. And then I just close it up like this. And I even decorated my flap with things that had to do. That's a big old corset. It has to do with the theme. I always try to stick with the theme. And then that's the back. I didn't do too much to the back. You can see where I put the fabric in here too. I did that down first. And it helps strengthen the edge of this manila envelope, because there's nothing really in it. And then I put a piece of construction paper in black here, and then I put my image, and it really makes it pop out. So that is that book, all said and done. And then I have this one. This one's coming from a different angle. I have the little tuck up at this end, and this sweet lady from she's on Miss Paints-A-Lot's page, Chestita. She made these gorgeous little buttons, and I had one on this one too. I don't know if I pointed it out, but she hand makes these little buttons. They are gorgeous. And I said, that will go perfect with this system, this theme. So here I've got a ribbon trim that I put along the back to cover my signatures where I sewed it in. And on both of them, I have all these little threads left over. I left them hanging. So if anybody gets this, they can cut it. And then I have this grosgrain that holds this shut. And I have the pretty singer. And then the back has a little bit of Frenchy look to it. Frenchie. And I've had this trim for a long time, and I got a whole wad of it over there. I've been trying to use it up. But as you can see, I put a piece of material in here in the center signature because I didn't want to see the black, so I covered it up. Now this here is just, I don't know, it was like a frame I had, and so I covered it with sewing stuff. And this piece right here is a piece of wrapping paper that I've had for ages. I took a piece of Simplicity pattern and just put a few things on there for you to write on. I didn't do a big pocket at the front and the back because I love these images to have all the, you know, the fanfare. And this has got domestic on it. And I don't know, it must be a digital image that she found. I've never heard of that brand. So this has got the same thing. It's got the pink and sheer cut with a zigzag. And this is the piece of wrapping paper. And I knew it was going to be too fragile to just leave in there as is. So what I did is I covered front and back with just a strip of glue stick. I went boom, boom, put them both together. And then this, I had to throw out some old cake boxes. So I kept the bag, and I kind of did a zigzag sew around the outside of it, and there you go. And I used the fabric tack to be able to glue. And I just glued this on here, and it's a tuck. It's not really a pocket, it's just a tuck. There was a top of a thread spool, and I have a little washi here helping hold the bottom down. But, I mean, I was trying to give you all kinds of different ideas that you can use. Now, this is a very shallow tuck. Very shallow. It's one of those strips that you can make with all your scraps. But this actually opens up. You can write on the back. You can write on the front, however you would like to do it. But I like the vintage lady here to be on the front. And then it just barely tucks under there. But it's enough. And then here is some more writing space. And of course I did the pattern around the outside here. I got a couple of her little cutouts on there as well. And this here is one of the pockets that I made. And I have my little Tim Holtz lady, and I have a stamp. And I thought, oh, that looks like a mirror image. It is the perfect size for her. And I just kind of used a bunch of scraps from another one of my Stamperia pads. And I thought that would go right in there with all those buttons on it. Oh, I hope everybody's doing well. I forgot to greet you and say hi. And all my subscribers. I've been getting new ones lately. And I've got such faithful old subscribers. I hope everybody is getting a few ideas and inspiration from this crazy little book. It's kind of fun doing sewing. I mean, I don't think that many people does sew anymore. It's sort of a vintage item. Now, this is another thing that Carrie the Crafter did. And he just kind of took a page and folded it over and did a thumb punch there. And it's like a tuck. And I had a piece of Tim Holtz paper that was left over from my sewing stuff. And I stuck it there, and then I decorated it. And so you can still write on it and everything. Now, this is a belly band I made from a paper towel roll. It's a 2-pocket belly band. So you've got this down here. And I decorated that up with a lot of the wrapping paper that I had. And it goes in here. And then the top up here comes out that way. And it's, see, it stops about, I think I glued it or sewed it right about there. So I got the 2 pockets. But I put a few things in here that's sewing related. This is another one of my paper pads, and I thought that really turned out good. This black button page was sharp, but you couldn't really do anything to it. You couldn't write on it, not really. So this is how I got around, so somebody could actually use it to journal with. And then I got that, and this is the other part of that envelope that I made, the double envelope. And it's just a tuck. I glued it down right here. And I just made a tuck out of it. You could put something in that way, or you can put it in this way. And then this was from one of the freebies from a jewel design on her Facebook page, I think it was. And then here's another one of the stamps, and it went really well with this one here. And then there's that other little, that's that same paper pad, and I used it there. Here is the log cabin square in this one. And it is not, it's like a more of a tuck. It's not a pocket. And I had made these a while back. This is just coffee dyed index card. And I cut a piece of a couple of things out here and made a collage. And I took these squares. I saw Edith at Scrapbooking with Me do this. But what she did is she put these scrap squares down and then she cut them off. Well, I decided to wrap them around and then sew them down. And I thought that did a lot more to it, and you didn't waste all your extra paper there. And this is a pretty lace paper from, it's a certain paper pad I've got. It's got all kinds of colored laces. And here is her pretty lace page that she's got in the digital. Now this here, this is actually a quilt pattern. It's a falling leaves or a maple leaf or something like that. And you could get in here and write on this. It was kind of a stretch to put this in here, but I thought it went. And this is just a little tiny guy here. Little tiny one. Oh, I said, I got to do something there. It's kind of like an index tab that sticks out and you're able to turn the page with it. Now this is my center signature. Center of the signature. And I had forgotten to do this. This is a large tag pocket, and I saw Lorette Chandler do it, the Vintage Paper Girl, and I fell in love with them, and I made a whole bunch of them. This is more that sewing Stamperia pad. That's it. Had all kinds of sewing related things here, and you have a large tag that's up here. It's got a big old sewing machine in it. It was really pretty paper. But the thing was, I had forgotten to sew this thing in. I was going to make some kind of a hinge or flap or something for it to be sewn into the signature. I forgot. So I took this grove grain and I stuck it and fabric tacked it here. I stuck it through the hoop. And I came to the other side and glued it down there. See, they have these little pockets in here to hold any kind of little goodies you've got. Here's that sewing machine again. And over here, this is just there. It's one of her words, and at the top of a button, a button card. So I just did that to decorate that page. Now this is another Roxy Creations, where I went a little rogue again. So I had made a tuck. I wanted to use that whole length or width of paper. So I made a little extra tuck in there. And then it's got a journal card that goes inside. And it's all decorated up to go with the items on the front. And it doesn't have anything behind. But I didn't glue this down in case, you might want to tuck something up there. And there's another one of those stamps that I have. And then this was a dress form I had from Bo Bunny. It was these family heirlooms, I think it was called. And I really got a lot of usage out of that. Now this was a pocket that was from the kit, but it was perfect for this. It's a tall matchbook cover. And it's kind of vintagey. I've got a couple brads there holding it down. It's just got a bunch of scrap in it. Bunch of scrap. But you take and you can use the scrap for anything, but you just tuck it in there and it stays shut. And you can use the back, the front to write on, whatever you'd like to do. And then more journaling spots. And I messed up here when I was sewing it, but it actually works. So don't worry about your sewing skills. Mine's kind of went down the hill. But this is a different kind of little pocket here. This is a This is some of her cut-aparts. But here, I use a few of her cut-aparts on this sheer cover, and I put these buttons in there. It was sort of supposed to be a shaker card, but you can't really shake it. But you can get in there and wiggle them around. And then, I like that Paris one. And then here's the other end of the gift wrap. And I didn't really put anything else on there, but, you know, you can always put a sticky note or something of that sort. This is a tuck that I made. And I made it a while back with all this excess stuff I had laying around. So I made it to be a tuck for the back. And it could be used in any way it needs to be. And I really appreciate everybody coming to visit, and I hope you got ideas. Have any questions, throw me some down in the below in the comments. And I'm going to link my flip-throughs at the very end of the video. So you can see other flip-throughs I've done through the ages here. Ages. It's been like 6 months. But anyhow, thank you. Everybody have a great day. Have a great life. See you again soon.